Hi everyone, this is Pamela, and for the ones that don't know me, I am 32 years old. I am from Venezuela. And if you want to know a little bit more about my story, you can check on my first video and then you will realize about everything in there. So no further say, today we would like to talk about a topic that is really interesting, and especially because right now it is very common. It's more common than people think, and it is scammers of love, or love scammers, I think that is the correct way of saying it. And why I wanted to talk about this. I know the last week I was talking about scammers as well, but it was more into the part where people steal your money. But in this particular part, it's about when it comes, love, that I think it's even more important. And, sadly, the society has changed so much that the way of meeting people are through applications, social media, and that leads to a lot of behaviors that, in my opinion, give a lot of red flags. And there's easy to lie, it's easy just to become whomever you want to be, and even get catfish, which is a topic that it's been there for so long. And what affects that, or being an easy target for this type of people who love to manipulate others by offering love or fake love, is the fact that you don't have a really good self-esteem, and then you're desperate for looking a connection, and for that reason you tend to be a victim for this type of people. So I wanted to create this content for you just to be very careful the next time you meet someone, because with this doesn't mean that you're not able to meet someone by an application or social media, but it's more like to open your eyes and be very careful about who is it that you're delivering your emotions, and to whom do you actually want to dedicate your time. So I want you to be very aware of it, and I want you to pay attention to this clip for seeing the things in the way they are.
A romance scam is a confidence trick involving feigning romantic intentions towards a victim, gaining their affection, and then using that goodwill to commit fraud. Fraudulent acts may involve access to the victim's money, bank accounts, credit cards, password, email accounts, or national identification numbers, or forcing the victims to commit financial fraud on their behalf. In many instances, a mail-order bride scam will also bait the victim into committing felonies to establish citizenship for the perpetrator. Stolen images. Romance scammers create personal profiles using stolen photographs of attractive people for the purpose of asking others to contact them. This is often known as catfishing. Communications are exchanged between the scammers and victim over a period of time until the scammer feels they have connected with the victim enough to ask for money. These requests may be for gas money, bus, or airplane tickets to visit the victim, medical or education expenses. There is usually the promise the scammer will one day join the victim in the victim's home. The scam usually ends when the victim realizes they are being scammed or stops sending money. Internet. Criminal networks defraud lonely people around the world with a false promise of love and romance. Scammers post profiles on dating websites, social media accounts, classified sites, and even online forums to search for new victims. The scammer usually attempts to obtain a more private method of communication, such as an email or phone number, to build trust with the victim. The scammer preys on the victim's false sense of a relationship to lure them into sending money. Know the variations. Narratives used to extract money from the victim of romance scams include the following. Number 1. The scammer says their boss has paid them in postal money orders and asks the victim to cash the forget money orders and then wire the money to the scammer. The bank eventually reverts the money ordered cash, but not the wire transfer. Number 2. The scammer says they need the victim to send money to pay for a passport. Number 3. The scammer says they require money for flights to the victim's country because they are being held back in their home country by a family member or a spouse. In all cases, the scammer never comes, or instead says that they are being held against their will by immigration authorities who are demanding bribes. Number 4. The scammer says they have had gold bars or other valuables seized by customs and need to pay taxes before they can recover the items and join the victim in their country. Number 5. The scammer meets the victim on an online dating site, lives in a foreign country, falls in love, but needs money to join the victim in his or her country. Number 6. The scammer says they are being held against their will for failure to pay a bill or require money for hospital bills. Number 7. The scammer says they need the money to pay the phone bills in order to communicate with the victim. Number 8. The scammer says they need the money for their own or their parents' urgent medical treatment. Number 9. The scammer says they need the money to complete their education before they can visit the victim. Number 10. The scammer offers a job, often to people in a poor country, on payment of a registration fee. These are particularly common at African dating sites. And number 11. The scammer actually is employed directly or indirectly by a website, with a share of the victim's member or usage fees passed on to the scammer. Blackmail. Some romance scammers seek out a victim with an obscure fetish and will make the victim think that if they pay for the scammer's plane ticket, they will get to live out their sexual fantasy with the scammer. Other scammers like to entice victims to perform sexual acts on webcam. They then record the victims, play back the recorded image or video to them, and then extorts money to prevent them from sending the recordings to friends, family, or employers, often discovered via social media sites such as Facebook or Twitter. So who is most likely to become a victim? Sensitive people are more vulnerable to online dating scams, based on a study conducted by a British Psychological Society. Per their results, sensitive and less emotionally intelligent people are more likely to be vulnerable to online dating scams.
So taking into account what it is said in the clip, I want you just to be careful, and love is such a beautiful thing that you always need to be open to receive it out there from family members, from friends, and from everyone, and not just to focus on someone to, let you know that you are important, you are valuable. You're even valuable by yourself, and that is something you need to take have in your mind all the time. So I do this with all my love. I will be seeing you the next week, and I hope you enjoy all of the information that you were listening there in the clip, and that the most important part is that it was useful for you. If you like that, you can subscribe, and I'll be preparing more material that will allow you just to open your eyes and not be scammed when it comes to this type of matter, especially when it comes to love.